friends and fans of Bob's Barn Workshop. Hey, today, it's been a while. I'm trying to get my materials together. It's time to finish this kitchen job. Now look at this. We have our backsplashes installed. I've got the outlets and switches in, except I'm missing one switch over here that I have to finish. They did all the way up around the window. So this area is done. I may replace the under cabinet lights. That'll be a different video. But we're back to the dining room area where in previous videos I painted down below the area where the wainscoting is going to go. So that's what I'm working on today. We're going to finish this up in one video, the kitchen project. So what we're going to do is right across this level line, we're going to go back over here and start with the height of where the backsplash ends. So the top of the board will be even with the top of the stone, 3 inches wide, I think, for the horizontal pieces, above and below. I've got the electric baseboard heat repainted, so I'm going to have to cut in around that first with the wall color, so I don't have to cut in around the electric heater later. All right, all right. So I'm going to have to go out to the shop, and I'm going to have to rip my pieces. I think 3-inch. For the wide, as I said, the horizontals, and 2 1/4 for the verticals. And what we have decided to do, rather than starting in a corner and coming out a foot at a time, what we're going to do is we're going to divide this into 12-inch increments for the center line, and then we're going to come off the wall, you know, 3 or 4 inches so that they're centered. I think that's going to look better, and then you won't have a thick board next to this thin trim. It'll just die into it. And actually that works out because I have an outlet centered underneath there that if we did it in the center, I'd have to worry about cut around that. And I have my miter station. I brought some tables up that we have, and I brought in my in-feed and out-feed tables from the shop. And as you notice, I've got my my portable chop saw all clamped down, and the outfeed for the stop block because I need to come out 4 feet, and an in-feed over here. So that'll be great. And today we got like 50-some degrees and sunny. It feels like spring outside today finally. Of course, for some people in Florida, they would think that was freezing, but for me, all I need is a sweatshirt and I'm feeling great. Oh yeah, and a couple weeks ago while we were gone, we had to have the whole electrical panel replaced. The bus bar was burned in half from the main breaker. So I decided to do the whole job, entrance cable and all that stuff. I had it hired done. They gave me a very, very smoking reasonable price. And I was an electrician for years back in the 70s, had my own company. I could have done it, but you have to deal with the power company and all that stuff, and they have all those credentials. So again, I'm also protected by insurance if I'd have done it myself. All right, so enough said about that. Let's get to what I need to do is go to the shop and rip my board width. Okay, so you can see my setup here now in the garage with the chop. I'm going to cut these to length first and then rip them to 2 1/4. There's no reason why not to. I got my measurement. So my outfeed table is clamped to the same table as the chop saw. I got a stop block, measures exactly the same. In-feed table doesn't need to be bolted down because it's just holding it up. Chop saw goes into my shop vac to help reduce the mess, and we rip from here. So let's see what we can do. We'll record just a couple of chops. I got the first board in here. Now I wanted to put in the part they cut square on their own chop saw because I had them cut to length. They were 16-footers. And these are that finger jointed pre-primed pine. It's beautiful stuff for what I'm doing. It's going to get a little noisy. Sorry about the noise. So that's done. I need to take these all back out to the barn now, and we're going to rip them. The barn is an absolute hellhole mess, so I'm going to have to move stuff around to get us to the point where we can rip them. Sorry, I'm in your way. But we'll get her done. I got to carry these back out there. All right, I got my saw set up to rip 3 inches. I'm going to run a test before I cut it all. I don't like spiders. Sorry, I'm in your way. I'm going to push this in, push this forward all at the same time. Exactly 3. All right, so I need to rip all these guys. To 3 inches. I'm going to choose the best side with the least amount of dings. This one's bowed like a sailor. Actually, the best thing to do is put up in a finger. And then you see here, one right here. No, it's a little over 3 inches, so that'll just keep it in for me. That's not long enough to keep it down. See if there's any friction there. Oh, just right. All right. I have 3 of these to do. 6 of these to do. This might shut down. I'm running out of. Says I have 1 minute left. All right, we'll come back when I'm done. I have very little time left, but all I'm going to do is cut these remaining 6-inch boards. They're only 5 1/4, 5 1/2, down to 2 1/4 for the vertical battens on the battening board. You're going to run out of battery, so we'll get back inside the house when I'm cutting the other stuff to length. So now that I've ripped off one side at 2 1/4 inches, see that left my other side wider, so now I just be able to move my fingerboard in so it holds it tight to the fence. So I'm just going to do this batch over here on the end of the table, through again at 2 1/4, but with the fingerboard set differently. And there you go. All the vertical slats have been ripped to 2 1/4. Now I need to go back in the garage and just measure our upper and lower pieces so we can get them primed, and then we'll nail them on the wall. Alright, I got to get the electric heater put back on the wall too. Alright guys and gals, friends of Bob's Barn Workshop, we have started doing a primer coat underneath this side of the wainscoting over here, and the reason we're doing that is the electric heater has to go on the bottom first, and we wanted to get a coat at least down there so the cutting in wasn't so difficult to do. So now we can put the heater on and it'll be very close to perfectly cut in. I got the boss working here. Well, alrighty then. You see I have the repainted, looks like brand new, electric baseboard heat reinstalled. I don't know if you've ever done one of these, but that front grate peels off and then the frame is there. So what I did is I just put the frame on first, and then there's a row of holes along the back that you can punch out knockouts to find the screw holes. Well, here's a hint. You see yourself an electric outlet, you know a stud's either on one side or the other. Well, in this case, it was on the right side. And same goes for that one. So that helps you locate studs. And of course, every 16 inches, you should have a stud. And then the power comes into this end on this unit. So the wire just loops to the terminal. There's a loop wire that goes through the heater to the other end and attaches to a screw. Sorry I didn't show that, but anyway, that's just basic wiring. Last night I painted up the 3-inch boards for the horizontal pieces. Let's go take a look. So last night I put 2 coats of the green paint. I gotta love a wife that loves OD green, huh? This is just clear pine that I just sanded first with 150 on my orbital sander. Took the vacuum cleaner with the brush attachment, sucked off all the dust, and then I put 2 coats, sanding lightly between coats of the wall paint. So I've got those pieces for the horizontal parts ready to go. So we're going to start under the window upstairs, piecing this in, because that's the side where I really need to piece things in because of the electric heat. Alright, one of the top boards put up now. We did it with an 18 gauge brad nailer, but I used construction adhesive by DAP called Dynagrip. It's supposed to be a fast grab, it's upside down, sorry. Fast grab adhesive, because when I do the vertical slats, some of them are going to be into the sheetrock only. So we're going to definitely have to rely on the glue to hold it in place. Alright, I'm cutting some others. I'm running a 3/16 radius on the edges because these are a little thicker than the door casings here, as you can see. So I radiused it so it ties in. Alrighty, so I've got all the baseboard pieces and all the upper pieces in, and I'm starting to run the vertical slats. 12 inches on center, all the way across. It's going to end up just shy of the light switch with the last piece, so that'll be perfect. And I'm just measuring from the top of the heater to the top of those. And along the window, I have to put a little bit of I set a little round over here to make these transition better to the window, because the casing is a little bit thinner. But I'm putting in construction adhesive, as I said, the Dynagrip, and 2-inch 18 gauge brad nails, and when that adhesive sets, they'll be on there for good. All right, I'll bring it when I bring you in again. I'll show you. Okay, so got my glue, got my nailer, got my light on. Right on, light on. Just put one bead right down the center of it. That's all I'm doing. And I have marks right here, down at the bottom somewhere. There it is. So there's got to be a header in here. See that I'm on my mark down here. I am. Alright. Easy as that. I'm going to have to go and fill all these nail holes before we paint. I spaced this way intentionally so I miss the outlet strategically. Old school metal box, Rayco box, ground clip, which I hate, but a Steel City box probably. I'm not sure what brand of outlet. Looks like the ones we always used back in the 70s. Hey, that's when this house was built. I'm going to go around and change all these. Okay, so now it's time to measure the next, and I'm always long. Never fails. But I'm going to come over. What I'm doing is, I know my first board is level, but I probably should continue to keep leveling them as I go. So I come over a foot, put a mark. Then I'm gonna put my handy dandy little lighty light here. And I'm just gonna lick that. How grody would that be? That looks right on though. So I'm going to put another one right here. They will all get painted over, don't worry. Alrighty, so there's my marking. And my length is 32 7/16, just like the last one. Okay. Alright, well we're hammering right along here. We got this side all done, and that adhesive is pretty amazing. I actually didn't put any nails in most of it. Just a couple of ends of the top piece up here. Just one on each end to help steady it. But you press it against the wall and it does grab quite quickly. Now I'm going to have to make a little tiny return on the end of the baseboard down there and over here. And I chamfered these ends so there wouldn't be any square corners. We can probably hit that with a little sandpaper. But this over here is what I'm waiting for. Is I've spray painted the vent this morning. I got to put the vent in, install my piece, and then when we go to paint, we have to pull the vent back out. So I've got to go check to see if the vent. So this wall is the only one left, and that's just a straight shot. Just stick all my ladders up and work my way down. Alright, I came up with an awesome hat. I've already measured and made my marks all the way along the top here where my slats have to be, and I checked that they're on center and everything. But instead of having to hold the level all the time, I rubber banded it to one of the straight slats. And so now, I'm going to sit in the chair because I'm getting old. You just stand it up with your top marks. Move the bottom until she says level. Make a couple more marks here. How's that? How's that for a hack? All right. Same thing, we'll start over here. Perfecto. I've been using this at So, I'm just taking this adhesive and making a kind of question mark. And watch loose, as the redneck once said. So I'm going to plant the bottom pretty close to where it's supposed to be. Plant the top. And that stuff grabs, it's unbelievable. Huh, that is so cool. And that's it, no nails or nothing. You think that's cool? I think that's pretty cool. I'm looking at my paint to see which is the best side. That's the best side. question mark, single line, question mark, or a blob. Now this is when I said I was going to give it about 1/8 of an inch. Just to help compensate for the top being off a little bit. Press it on. That helps flatten out the bead of caulk that I put on there. Alright, so what's next, guys? Just the top board. And this job is done. Clean out any of the glue that oozed. There's nothing like glue ooze to ruin your day. Glue, would you call that glues? Alright. Okay, we gotta go cut that top piece. Here we go, let's set the final board in here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to nail this one. Should I jack them up from the bottom? See if I can get them to move. Oh, it did move. That's all we'll do it, boys. There we go. Stud right there. Come here, kid. I guess that's all right. I just hold this. If you need any more down here, that seems pretty tight. It's like magic. All right, well, next we'll be on to just doing that one piece in the heat vent over here. Kind of washed out because of the sun, but I'm putting up my last piece. Not much I can do about the sun. Thank goodness for the sun, you know. Too long. Damn it. This stuff was already stuck down. It had almost like a suction to it. Kind of cool. And I wanted to have a little bit of slack on top of this heater vent here. That's it. All the slats are done. Woohoo! I'm sure that bright sun is screwing you up. But that's the heat vent down there, see? And this wall, I told my wife it looks like a zoo with animal cages. But we're going to paint this all the forest green as the upper and lower slats are now. So we'll come back when we're done painting it. How's that sound? All right, friends and fans, I know it's a little dark because it's getting dark. But we have the first coat on the faux batten and board wainscot. It didn't cover well, so not a real fan of that Sherwin-Williams paint we're using. You roll it over something and it leaves like a lot of little white speckles behind, so hopefully the second coat will cover well. I had to paint the kitchen, or the upper sides, 2 coats to get it to cover. So there it is underneath the picture window. Down to the electric heater, you can see it's all masked off. It's going to look really, really sharp, of course, when we get all the masking tape back off. After I finish the second coat tomorrow. The second coat tomorrow will have to do everything. I mean, I'm not going to hit the tops of these boards because they've already got enough paint on them, but just to even everything out, I'm going to hit the fronts. And then they have some patches in them that I need to, some nail holes I need to make sure I cover in. So that's it, guys. We'll show you the finished product. Well, fans, this is it. The final reveal. I actually painted the air duct vent with the same beige that I painted the electric heat with to make it, give it a nice facelift. Now what I used was this is 4-inch 1x4 on the top and the bottom that I ripped to be exactly 3 inches, which they didn't have the board that I wanted, so that's just clear pine. The vertical strips I cut to 2 1/4, spaced them 12 inches center to center, and they are made out of that finger jointed pre-painted, pre-primed board, and I bought 1x6 of that so I could get 2 strips. And of course for your project you'd have to size it appropriately. And you know, I had it all taped in, and these returns, I had to cut these little returns right here. I decided to end the wainscot at this little fine molding that I made many years ago, probably the finest piece of woodwork I ever did, because it's only 1/8 inch thick to cover the corner. But yeah, I put that on with the Dynagrip glue so I'd have no nails to split it, and I did the same thing over here and fix that return. And I think the look is very nice. And of course the dark green always looks good with natural oak. What else can I say about it? She moved her hutch back. I'll back up so you get a better view. That's an antique hutch that my wife bought from a lady next to Landon. Actually, her name is Landon. She's in Watkins Glen on 4th Street. If you want antique dressers and stuff, she does a miraculous job.
Distressed by me.
Distressed.
By me.
Distressed by Me, I guess is the name of the company. All right, and here we go. What I did, instead of starting the batten boards in each corner exactly right, I actually decided to kind of center them and space each end out a little bit, which for me worked out very lucky, because when I missed this, it made me miss the outlets, which are on even spacing because the studs are on even spacing. And the same happened over here. See how I kind of, instead of starting right on the corner, I brought it back in 6 inches from each end. It just mathematically worked out. And the same thing on this wall. I ended up with about 3 inches on each end before the battens. So that's it, guys. The project is done. I think we might change those Dolly Parton light fixtures. And here's the finished kitchen. Just give you one last glance at it. Backsplash is all done with the quartz also. I got some of our food stored in the corner here. Coffee maker, mugs, and so on. So guys, that's it for this project. She's all finished. I did put some new light fixtures up. For the hallway. With Edison bulbs. Alright. That does it. This job is done. God bless. Take care. We'll see you next time.